Hey, what's up guys? Sir Emanon here, back with another episode of Road to 1000 Dueling Book Rating, and it has been quite a while since I've uploaded. Sorry about the delay here, just a couple of IRL things getting in the way. But here we are, back on the series here, and I will actually be just uploading a bit more intermittently this week, just like random backlogged episodes. I actually played a lot of Dueling Book Rated recently, so have a lot of footage to go ahead and record for you guys, so you will be able to see a lot of gameplay commentary. And spoiler alert, a lot of this is actually going to be Lunalight content, so yeah, definitely if you are a fan of this deck, which I'm sure many of you guys are, then yeah, this will be pretty good for you guys to watch. So before we get into it, just a couple of quick announcements. The first one being, if you guys don't already know, I actually do have a Discord server now. The link to that is in the description of every new video, starting from that announcement video that I made about a week ago or so. Or actually no, it was like 2 weeks ago at this point, now that I'm thinking about it. It's been quite a while. But yeah, I also have a Twitter that you guys can follow. Link will also be in the description. Just be sure to follow all my other social medias if you want to, I don't know, make me feel a little bit better on the inside, I guess. But yeah, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into the gameplay commentary here. So you'll notice that my rating from last episode actually dropped. It's because I played a game and I got disconnected. So that's why you'll notice my record is also 8-2 instead of 8-1, which was what it was at the end of last episode. So yeah, played a game, got disconnected, feels bad. So anyways, here we are playing Lunalight Orcust against Orcust, just like a pure build. So yeah, we open up pretty well here, I would say. For going first, it is a little bit of a there's a little bit of variance as far as the Lunalight engine is concerned, but the cards that we can pitch for this Jackalope can actually help us get there, as long as we don't just, like, you know, snipe it and then don't draw anything. But it'll help us kind of fix what we need. And I set the Twin Twister just so I have a higher chance of pitching the cards I need to pitch. Like in certain hands, like, you just don't mind keeping Twin in your hand if you like really needed fish for new stuff. But in the cases where you have cards that you specifically want to pitch, it is good to be able to, you know, just set the cards that you don't want discarded. It makes a lot of sense, right? So yeah, the Serenade Dance gets sniped, which is very fortunate for us because that gets our Lunalight plays started and online. So we are able to theoretically get our you know, our Chick and our Tiger play. He holds, like, I asked if Serenade Dance is fine, and then he waits for me to discard before dropping the Ash. He doesn't like type anything. But the discard's not a cost, obviously, as you can see. It is just a... you send the card from your hand to the graveyard on resolution, so it's not a cost. So if he asks that, that's fine. I still have the goods play. So we get to basically the same point that we would have started off anyway, just a card short. And Foolish Goods also nets us a bit of a card minus, because it is -1. But overall, if it is to get the Lunalight play started, then I don't really mind too much. And the reason I go for the 4 Strix play here instead of like Nyarla Azathoth is we kind of have to. We don't have cards in hand to discard for our Orcust play just yet. So just being able to make sure that we have access to Tigers so we can make Curious Ascender Orcusts here is pretty important. And that's why Curious is like a really, really nice addition to this deck. It makes it so that, like, even if you have to use all of your cards in your hand to like play through like certain hand traps, and if you draw goods, which is like probably the worst of the starter cards, you can still get there if you have the proper setup, which is largely enabled in part due to 4 Strix being super versatile with, you know, what it does for the deck. But yeah, we're allowed to just get our Tiger set up so we can go into a Curious with these 3 monsters on board. And that allows us to send our Nightmare, which gets us more cards in grave. None of which really do anything, but we have a Martin we haven't used yet, we have a Zephyrus we haven't used yet, and we have an Orcust play, so pretty good stuff. Here I'm still like experimenting with end boards because I actually dropped the Eradicator combo from the main deck. Spoiler, I'm actually you'll actually get to see some interesting changes I made, but I actually don't want to spoil the complete list yet. I hope that's okay with you guys because I do plan on going to YCS Niagara this weekend. So I don't want to, you know, drop any, I guess, secrets that I might be holding too much as far as like my overall theory on the deck. But you'll be able to see some cards that are included. This White Rabbit here is just a bit of a tech of mine. And I found it to be quite useful in theory, and in practice it's been doing alright. But yeah, here I make like a second rank 4 instead of going for like an Appaloosa or something. You could argue that that's maybe not like the best play, but you know, depending on what you want to end up with, it's never like too bad. Like, you don't really know what you're playing blind game 1 most of the time, so you just try and make the best for it that you can. Typically you can end on rank 4 crescendo and other stuff, so that's like the bare minimum, and then anything else you have in addition to that is generally going to be a plus for you, so that's pretty good. Yeah, okay, so he ends up imperming the Nightmare. I'm thinking that he's trying to bait my crescendo, because I'm thinking like, what decks really play hand traps, and I'm thinking, well, probably Striker. I guess in theory I could have expected like maybe Orcust, maybe Salamangreat, but I just let it go because I want to make sure that my crescendo is safe for like the super impactful cards. But you know, had I known that this is Orcust, I would have definitely negated it because Nightmare would put in work against this deck. But yeah, probably should just, like, the thing is it's kind of like a catch-22, because like if I negate the impermanence and it ends up being 4 Striker cards in hand, then that sucks a lot because I really don't have any like good interaction, since, you know, I don't have a card to pitch for Twin Twister just yet, so not really great stuff. Oh, whoops, that is a Windows notification that I do not want to look at right now. Anyways, so yeah, he forces my crescendo with the restrict, and now I know for sure he's on Orcust, so I'm like, oh, that's really unfortunate. Just gonna have to see what happens. If this other rank 4 was a Dweller, then obviously we'd be in a really good spot. But he gets his play started, and I have no way to meaningfully stop him. So he gets to pop off a bit here. He goes for his own Galatea, and then he goes and sends the Symbol Skeleton, which he actually doesn't really have anything to revive with, so I'm thinking, okay, the only way this is like really bad is if he has like an extender as well. But little do I know he already has Crescendo in hand. But you know, it's all fine. Galatea is going to go ahead and get himself the Babel, which is pretty cool for him. He gets to send something, so I'm like, if he sends Tornado, I'm just gonna like, I guess, try and chain it. Obviously, as Dingirsu to protect it, but yeah, we take what we can get. He sends a Nightmare anyway, which is fine with me. Go ahead and take the damage, and then he sets his Crescendo and passes turn. So his crescendo, excuse me, isn't actually live right now, so that's totally fine. And this Foolish isn't really doing me like too much here, so I just go ahead and Twin Twister these away. If I didn't have Twin Twister, I actually could have just forced out his cards with White Rabbit perhaps, but he would have made his Crescendo live if he, of course, used his symbol to revive Galatea with the Babel. You know, train him as quick effects, but by shotgunning the Twin Twister, that just kind of eliminates any chance of that happening, since he opted not to like do anything, you know, in standby phase, which, you know, generally wouldn't really have a reason to. But we go ahead, and now that we pretty much know that we're in the clear, like, there's not really anything that can really hinder us too badly. Like, one card, even if it is a hand trap, probably isn't going to do a whole lot realistically, so we're totally okay with this. And he just scoops right there. So yeah, we could have made like Dweller, we could have made Boros Sword and like the Dingirsu Send, and that was just a lot of damage there. So we were in a pretty good spot. So game 2, he is going first, and he is playing Cosmic Cycle in his main deck, which is kind of on the uptrend. It gets around Dingirsu, it gets around, like, it helps you, so like you can just permanently banish like Salamangreat traps, for example, or like permanently banish multi-roll. It's a pretty good card, just as, you know, an option for back row hate. So he starts out with Scrap Recycler. He's going to send Harp here, I believe, and go ahead and banish it to summon the Orcust Nightmare. And then from there, he's just going to go ahead straight into Galatea. Nightmare is going to banish itself to summon the symbol here, or send the symbol, sorry, not summon it. But yeah, from here Galatea is going to go ahead and grab his Crescendo, and then he's going to set Cosmic and put up Babble and then pass turn. So at this point I'm thinking, okay, so how do I make sure that Crescendo is not live, where I can also you know, kind of just shut off his Babble from, like, you know, being able to bring back resources with Symbol. So I decided the best course of action is to use Mothman, see what happens, and then, you know, play from there. Pitching this Perfume was actually probably the best outcome, because that allows us to pretty much, you know, have free reign over whatever we want. So I pitched the Yellow Martin because my intention is not to use Kaleido Chick in case he does end up crescendoing it for some reason. You know, in this hand it wouldn't be optimal for him to do that, but just in case, I just choose to go straight into Nyarla and Azathoth, and then I realized I put it in the wrong zone, so I'm just going to move it to the right zone, because obviously if I put it in that zone that I had earlier, the Galatea can't be destroyed by battle, and that's not an effect that activates, so Azathoth doesn't stop it. So now I can just safely attack over Galatea, his Crescendo is dead, but I am not reading the Cosmic Cyclone. I'm just thinking that maybe it's like a Call by the Grave that I can play through. So I make a pretty big error here with that. So here I could easily just make like a Phoenix to pop this, and then go into Mermaid, do the Orcust combo, and then Perfume would have to pitch a card to get me a Tiger. So that's one discard for Phoenix, one discard for Mermaid, and one discard for Perfume. I didn't want to get rid of the Call by the Grave because I know that while we can't use Symbol this turn, he can use it next turn and get his Crescendo back online. If I don't like out it, or like even if I do out it, he'll still get Galatea. So like my thought process was like, okay, make sure that you keep Call by the Grave, and the best way to forsake that, in my opinion, at that time, was to just forego the Phoenix. Obviously that was wrong, because I needed to get rid of this Cosmic, since that would totally destroy my Tiger, and not destroy it, would banish it. It would absolutely get, like, demolish my entire play there. So this should be a Phoenix, this should be pitching the World Wand to hit the Cosmic Cyclone. But I ended up not doing that, which was totally bad. So definitely don't be greedy. This was just more a case of greed. I felt a bit safe there. I thought it was like maybe again, like I said, Call by the Grave that I could just play through. But it wasn't, so now we have to kind of, you know, make do with just our Orcust play, which I'm never comfortable with whenever my board is just Orcust stuff, because I feel the Lunalight cards are primary and the Orcust stuff is secondary. But you know, the Orcusts do come in as a pretty good game plan if your Lunalight cards do get interrupted in the way that they did. So here we just try and go for our standard Orcust stuff, and we're going to send the Crescendo so that when he brings back his Galatea, it's not live or anything. And then Galatea will put down a Crescendo of our own, and then we set this Call by the Grave and pass. So we're in kind of a rough spot, sort of. Like, it's not the greatest, because he has Crescendo to be able to search since he didn't negate anything. So he has a Harp. He draws Infinite Impermanence, which isn't live this turn, but yeah, so, but this is a case where, luckily, because I did make that line of play, I still had the access to Call by the Grave, so I was able to make use of it. And surprisingly enough, because the other two cards in his hand are dead, that actually just signals the end of the game, so that is going to be a win for us here. Alright, so that's going to be it for this replay. As you can see, we now have 9 wins, and we have gained 23 DuelingBook ratings, so we're at 269 now, if I can do math. And yeah, that's pretty much a decent display. I don't think I played optimally, especially at that second game. The first game, actually, I should have just probably crescendoed the Impermanence, but, you know, going in blind, not knowing the matchup, I guess it was, like, justified, considering that, you know, Crescendo is, like, the most important, like, singular negation tool. It's, like, the only negation tool out of that board. But game 2, definitely should have used Phoenix for sure, just to get it out of the way, because even if it was Called by the Grave, you know, if it forced it, then I'd be able to play accordingly, and then just, you know, handle things from there. But that's going to be it for this game. That's going to be it for this video as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you did. by leaving a like if you enjoyed, and let me know what you guys thought of the video in the comment section down below. Feel free to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos similar to this style. I do pretty thorough in-depth analysis of gameplays as well as general deck building and theory. And until next time, I will catch you in the next video. See you guys.